of the Vanguard who's just dunking on everybody. They're dunking on AOC, dunking on Kalinske, dunking on David Doel, dunking on Joe Rogan. Called Joe Rogan an elite moron. Put elitist moron right on the top of Joe Rogan's head.
I don't watch RedTube like that anymore, but I'm not impressed by anything I've seen from this guy at all. At all.
No,
I would love to have him on.
So that's Zach. He says he's not impressed by this guy at all, but then he's going to plug and say, I would love to have him on the show.
To debate him, because that seems like
to
it would be an easy night.
Debate him.
It's going to happen.
Because it would be easy.
Oh, yeah, I get on the scene from this guy at all. At all.
No,
I would love to have him on the show to debate him, because that seems like it would be an easy night's work.
Ain't going to happen.
Oh, man.
If we're trying to get me on his show, probably, I don't know, maybe a year or two back.
So Zach just said, Gavin and Zach is the Vanguard, and I'm not sure Savage Joy is there too. Zach's the one with the swooping hair, right? You have both, I guess, Caucasian, white, pale-skinned, long-haired males in their 20s, maybe, and a white female with blue hair in her 30s, 20s, I don't know. But that was Zach. Zach actually calls David Doel out. Zach says, I would want him to come on my show to debate him because it looks like it would be an easy night's work. I would love that conversation. I would love to see David Doel and Zach, talk about the Patriot Act, the Medicare for All, just the, issues of our day, poverty, border issues, police brutality. Right, go on and on. Derek Chauvin trial. That'd be fantastic. That'd be awesome.
Because I disagreed with him on something, and they're like, "Ooh, Savage Joy, you gotta go on his show." He wouldn't
so if you
respond
don't have the second piece of it, then what do you have at the end of the day?
Like,
somebody in power who's ineffective but is a phenomenal tweeter. Not going to get much done, and now we know empirically that's correct.
Yeah, and I think that the first thing that I want to say about that is, what a good display of integrity from Kyle right there, owning up to his past misjudgment. That's all you can ask from people, right? Like, when you hold people's feet to the fire, what you're asking is for accountability, for people to be like, oh, I was wrong about this in the past, and now this is the new evidence that I have now, right? Like, when the facts change, so do I, right? That's the kind of mentality that we all want to build on the left. And, for a while, I was with Kyle and I think Gavin and, Joy, I don't know how much you bought into the squad at one point, but back, certainly under Trump it felt inspiring and like one beacon of light that could possibly get something positive done, if nothing. And it seems like the most that it did was it brewed a lot of excitement for the Bernie campaign, and then when the Bernie campaign burned out, it became a completely lost cause, energy fragmented.
That's something to be annoyed by. That's something to be frustrated by. As people who sat here and talked about how AOC was, the future of the party and why we need to support her over other Democrats that are in the establishment and that aren't repping these values. So I'm sorry, but
I'm just going to go ahead and bankroll them anyway, Gavin, with 160 G's.
Exactly, and that's the kind of thing I mean. It's like, do we not have the right to get upset about being betrayed and lied to by people that were supposedly the movement?
Something that I admittedly
they're the leaders of this movement. Like that pisses me off as someone who actually gives a shit about these policies, who actually gives a shit about advancing these issues and getting progress. I don't know why you're so fucking civil and polite and willing to just take these like betrayals. But personally, I look at that and I get upset because I see someone who used working class people to get elected and now is basically using that position to just
use their fucking money, dude. Yeah. That's what gets me crazy. Like I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, odds are you have some connection to like a working class background, right? But I think about the times in my life when like I was like living with my mom and she was a single mom and we like got fucking like help from the government and like the fucking food pantries and my mom's
something that immigrants never experienced, by the way.
Yeah, well, right. What I'm saying, and when you have those kinds of experiences, right, like formative in your years, like my mom didn't have a bedroom; she slept in the living room. Like shit that you remember from when you're a kid, you do the same shit over and over again because your parents didn't have money for other shit. Like that stuff never leaves you. And if you want to like try and co-opt that kind of image, if you want to try and co-opt like, oh, I have these roots, like that shit can never leave you. That's what roots mean, right? Like I will never not remember what it was like to eat soup every day for a fucking week, right? Like I will never not remember what it was like to have my mom like think until I die, and that's what roots me in these fucking politics. You know what I'm saying? And I will never not think about those things when I cast a ballot, when I pay my fucking taxes, when I see somebody that needs help.
Because I just think
The left really needs to do better, because we're letting assholes like Dan Crenshaw and Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson vacuum up all of this real need, this emptiness in society. There needs to be understanding that like a self-improvement for the collective, right? Because a lot of people fall into the trap of listening to these assholes because they feel so helpless and so disoriented and lonely. The only thing that they feel like they can grab onto is this idea of like, oh, it's me against the world, right? And that kind of coarse individualism is what breeds this kind of thinking, right? And what we need to do is offer a better, a superior alternative from the left, where we're saying things like, yes, of course you can improve as an individual, but you want to do that to enhance the collective, right? And you don't need to do that at the expense.
I think it's interesting, actually, that he mentioned Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson gets way too much attention. There is a big vacuum. He's just a guy talking about his conservative views, and people are flipping the fuck out because apparently you're not supposed to. We are a center-right. We're a far right-wing. The Democrats and conservatives, we're a far right-wing country. We are a far right-wing nation. We are, so, he's making a lot of good points here. Let's see.
Of the collective. It's not you against the community, it is you along with the community advancing everything. Right?
So I always had this debate in my head: do you advance with your class, do you rise with your class, or do you rise above your class? Okay. I think there's an argument to be made for both, right?